Taiwan Special, episode 2 for the week. Today, I'm going to tell you what's going on in Hong Kong, and I'm going to talk about again. Yesterday, I talked about Brexit yesterday. Standing up for what you believe, letting failure to be an option so that you're able to succeed. The response coming from China about Hong Kong. The response is coming from China. Follow the leadership. Stay out of our internal business. The people should respect their leaders. There's lots of places for freedom. The response is coming out of China, not just the government, but the brainwashed Chinese also who are peddling their propaganda. The response is coming from the Chinese. Reminds me of the same responses that would come from the so-called professional Christian leaders on Sunday morning. Now, I'm going to qualify that. That sounds explosive. If you've got a Sunday morning thing that you are a part of, and you are a better person because of it, and other people who are not Christian respect you for the person you are, don't quit. Everyone's different. There's a book, Growing Up Fundamentalist, who would say that those that get abused by Sunday morning are not at all alone. All right. It's just really suspicious to me. It's outright eerie how much you must submit to godly authority. This Sunday morning leadership domination follows exactly the way the Chinese say everyone must absolutely follow their rule. Their word is law, even if it goes against the law. It is eerie how much it is identical. Wow. I mean, look, there are Christian fellowships that are not controlling, but the controlling ones resemble China. That's the thing. Not all Christian fellowships are controlling, but the Christian fellowships that are controlling, however many there may be, that's not my point. Most, fewer, majority, minority, that's not my point. The controlling Christian churchianity groups that are very controlling and power hungry behave the same as China. Just think about that. It's like, there's a point where you get to, you say, no. This isn't God's plan. This is just evil. All right. Okay. It's a thought. Now, what's happened in Hong Kong? I reached a tipping point this week. Something has set me off. I'm done with the Sunday morning illustrator. I'm going to talk about more stuff, but it's kind of sort of related to what China's doing. Blue paint. China has put blue dye coloring in their water sprayer crowd control thing, water guns. Does Nerf make those things? I mean, who makes the big water gun? Wouldn't that be funny if it was a Nerf? Don't you think Nerf should like go into like the water cannon business? I mean, I just think it's funny. It's a water gun. Look, China has put now. What's going to happen is kids are going to start putting food coloring in their water guns. See, and that's Hong Kong started it. They put this blue dye into their water cannons, and it's the same blue dye as the background color for The Point, which I've been reading since 2014. It's the same color, which just goes to prove that the police want to get to the point. Okay, all right, that's okay. I'm gonna cut with the cranky jokes here, but there's this blue color. They're using this. It's a light aqua blue. And for some reason, This has really set me off. See, by putting blue dye in the water cannons, they're hoping that they're going to color the protesters so that they can go round them up later. That's the only reason that this would make any sense. And that really went to work on me. So I did some artwork and I made some, in fact, I'm going to check my Instagram right now and see if there's any updates. No, I haven't had anybody else like my pictures. I made these Instagram photos that in honor of this blue color, because I was looking at that blue color and I said, I don't know. I couldn't help but think about the war paint that Mel Gibson used in Braveheart with William Wallace. And so I made this short series. One of them says in Chinese, let me see if I can go find, as free men, I don't know, maybe I should do a desktop screen share here for a minute. Maybe I'll do that. Okay, I'll see if I can do a desktop screen share here. If you find the settings, this is view sources. And find the camera output. I'm doing this live, so that's output image background screen capture. Is that a screen capture? Is that the second monitor? Okay. Okay. Yep. That's those settings over here. And so if I turn that off, there, that's it. It's behind me. Let's see. I'll have to make this thing more appropriate. Okay, there it is. So you can see behind me here, if you're watching this, it says I'll read the Chinese to you even. Why not? 如果我们像自由的人一样，that's 战斗 yeah, okay. 如果我们像自由的人一样战斗，那么我们就是自由的人。人民, excuse me. Okay, so anyhow, it's no, I'm reading Chinese under pressure. Let me see if I can fix this. 如果我们像自由的人民一样战斗，那么我们就是自由的人民。If we fight as free men, then free men we are. And so all right, that was fun, and I'm gonna pull that. Yeah, that was fun. If Hong Kong can get, I don't think they really need it. I just wanted to encourage them. For some reason, this really hit me. I don't know. I got to move on. It really hit me personally when they started attacking protesters like this, because that's really, really aggressive. Another thing that happened, there's a video. I shared it on Facebook. It's got a YouTube source. There's this, he seems American, could be Canadian. It's not British. He's talking and ranting on the subway. It's called the MTR. And he goes out of the car, and he get at the station. The trains. Subway is a train. It stops at the station. He gets out, and there's a bunch of police there, and they're riot police and riot gear. They've got their high shields, and they're not allowing anyone to go down the stairs. And this guy just wants to go home, but they're not allowing him to go home. So he pushes them, and he asks them about. Whether they support the law. It's called the basic law. It's like a constitution. And the police won't answer him. Probably they don't understand him. Some of them do, and just keep telling him that he has to leave. And he's like, I want to go home. Do you support your own constitution or not? And he keeps forcing his way down the stairs just so he can go home, because I think that's the only way for him to go home. I suppose there might have been another stair exit, but I think that they had the exit to that particular station blocked off. And so no one could go in or out of that station. He'd have to get on another train and go get home some other route. Now, I know Hong Kong well enough. I know that line. I've never actually ridden that line because it goes out to a more remote part of Hong Kong, which is where a lot of people will live. The one Western guy that I know in Hong Kong, I know I haven't seen him in the news, but I mean, he lives out on that line. So, because housing is extremely expensive in Hong Kong. So on those remote lines, it can be 5-10 minutes between train stops, which means that if you have to go to the next stop, you've got to pay a taxi a whole bunch of money to take you home, or you've got to walk for hours and hours. So he's going to want to get off at the station near his home, and the police wouldn't let him. And it ended up him being arrested. Now, it looks really bad for the optics, this video. I as much as I hate to say it, the police, some of them were off the reservation. If I were king of the world, I would have had them beheaded. I'm saying that somewhat comically. I despise police who think that they're going to have a good outcome to a situation when they start yelling. I don't know what kind of a police trainer would ever suggest under any circumstances that police shout autocratically under any circumstances. That's only going to escalate. That's someone looking for a fight. And they've got it worked out in their twisted minds that that's a good idea. Most of the Hong Kong police were acting like Hong Kong police. They were telling him, okay, all right, okay, but you can't cross this line. We're supposed to stop, and you can't. All right, okay, we hear you, but you can't cross this line. A lot of them are behaving actually rather well, but then you get some guy that comes out and he starts shouting and bossing people around. The big point I want to make about this video is this is going to turn into bad optics. During the civil rights marches of the Martin Luther King Day, there was this one protester, and he had dealt with dogs before. And the police had a dog that was there, and this guy wasn't afraid of dogs. So there was a police dog that was kind of there. This protester actually kind of leaned in towards the dog, and he was advancing on the dog. And of course the dog was barking at him already anyway, but the protester pushed it and forced it into a situation where the protester was the 51% aggressor and the dog was the 49% aggressor. Just over, it's still bad. Some photographer got a picture of this with the dog and his teeth like right there on the guy's chest. No blood. And it really looked like, it was really bad. Like right there, police officer right there. The guy's leaning almost up against a police officer. And this photo went viral. Police officer, dog biting, the guy's there. And that, it wasn't as bad as it looked, but it set everything off. And this video of this guy with an American accent, I would presume that he's American, but he could be Canadian. This video, it's not as bad as it looks, but it looks horrible. And the thing that I always come back to is that the Chinese don't play for optics because they just have ultimate control of the media anyway. They don't know how to pose for the camera because all their videos are photoshopped. So they don't practice on-screen acting. They practice editing and censorship. So these Hong Kong, China is not prepared to go up against the West. They say the West is so evil. They say the West is so bad. Well, if China knows so much about the West, then why are they letting the West play these bad optics on them? It's because they don't know what they're talking about. And the West probably is right. And the Chinese don't know, as Trump says, what the hell they're doing. China is not fit to be leading these places because they didn't know they didn't know enough about the job to stand up against these Westerners they claim are evil. Now, I'm going to say you've got to go listen to the Cadence of Conflict, Asia, September 2, 2019 for this week to really get a picture of what's going on in Hong Kong. Because I'm not going to repeat the stuff I said there. It's golden. It's separate. You've got to go hear this. Using the blue dye. It's the same color. The color the police are spraying the protesters with is the same color of the war paint that that Mel Gibson, playing William Wallace, used in his movie Braveheart. I made my picture of it. I don't know how long it's going to take for them to figure that out. I mean, if you see the picture on my Instagram profile, jesse.coffee, and follow my Instagram and you'll see it there, beginning of September 2019. It says Hong Kong in Chinese. It says Hong Kong, and then it says Scotland, and then it says freedom. And I don't know if they're going to figure it out, but using this blue coloring could turn around if the Hong Kong people in the Chinese speaking world pays attention. I don't know if they will, but the idea is, okay, color me blue. I'm fighting for freedom. It could turn. Well, the eerie thing about it is he's got that same blue war paint, but the clouds behind him are also blue. Like it's really, really, really a fascinating connection. Okay. By me putting out these pictures on my Instagram profile, I've already drawn criticism of one user that's using simplified Chinese. And that person's response basically was, like Arabia and Egypt and I don't know, he listed a bunch of Middle Eastern countries. They all welcome you. So I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to kind of wrap up this Chinese rant day with this perspective. China says that the West is interfering in Hong Kong. And the argument coming out, Chinese government, pro-Chinese government, Chinese people. Basically, the argument is from their, America must be paying someone in Hong Kong to make all these protests happen because otherwise it wouldn't happen. And that's bad because everywhere America goes, they only make trouble. Therefore, it's okay for China to tell Hong Kong what to do and to send in police and soldiers into Hong Kong. That's like America are the ones interfering in Hong Kong. Beijing isn't interfering in Hong Kong because Beijing deserves to own Hong Kong. And therefore, it's America that's doing the interfering. And that sending in police isn't interfering. Telling Hong Kong's government what to do isn't interfering. Trying to control a government and not letting them rule themselves is not interfering. But because these Hong Kongers have these American ideas, then that means that America's interfering. All right. I don't like that we interfered with Iraq. Sadly, I didn't oppose it in the beginning. I was in my 20s and dumb, and I should have listened to Trump back then. He didn't want to go to Iraq. That's the thing. People don't like, a lot of people that don't like Trump didn't want to go to Iraq, and Trump was never in favor of Iraq. That's just interesting to me. It's like if you didn't like Iraq, then Trump should be your biggest ally. We went into Iraq, made a mess. We tried to do to Iraq what Beijing is trying to do to Hong Kong. Control it with military, accept a rule that we have a resistance against us. We're convinced that most of the people want us. In Iraq, maybe they did, but not enough, and it really made a mess anyway. really the standard would be that America should not have gone and interfered in Iraq, and Beijing should not go and interfere in Hong Kong. They should keep their promise. I mean, ideally, that would be an equal standard. But again, China doesn't view life in terms of equal standards. They really believe that they're better than everybody else. It's like the guy who believes that he has to have a bigger, stronger body than everybody else. And when he goes in the showers, if he's not bigger than everybody else, then he feels inferior. And so, like, you know, the skinny guys, like I was in high school, you had these skinny guys and these kind of overweight guys, and they wouldn't go take the shower when everybody else goes and takes a shower. And it's like there's this, and it's like the other guys would like insist that they go take a shower, and the coach walks in. What's this all about? It's like, you won't take a shower. Oh, he doesn't want to take a shower. Don't let him take a shower. But there was this, when I was in high school, there was this tension about shower time. And it's like, you know, whatever you are, whatever the state of your overall body is, it's like, that's who you are. And we're all peers and we accept it together. Well, there are these people that think that they've got to be stronger and more handsome and more muscly than everybody else, or else they don't want to go join a club at all. They've got to be better than everybody else, or they don't want to play. And so China's like that. They've always believed that they need to have the advantage. They have to win the competition or they won't play, because it's not fair unless they win every gold medal. And by that standard, it's a very self-focused, self-driven standard. By that standard, they're of course going to think that it's fine for them to tell Hong Kong's government what to do, to send in trained police, to send in soldiers, and to boss Hong Kong around. Yeah, that's okay. But if the Hong Kongers are speaking the ideas that they've been learning from the English-speaking world for over 100 years, well, that's wrong and that's interfering. Again, we're really seeing China for what it is because of what's happening in Hong Kong. And China's not playing the optics in their favor. It's worse than what we see. The pictures that we do see aren't as bad as they actually are, but they look really bad. And China's not trying to make them not look bad. So it's like, this is how it works. Things are terrible, but the worst pictures don't get out. The pictures that do get out aren't as bad as it is, and that's what motivates people to go solve the bigger problem that they never did see. Like, this is how life really works. The guy that wrote, I don't know, a good movie writer will know that. He will work these things into his stories. Now, I was going to say, Game of Thrones, the Song of Ice and Fire, George R.R. Martin would say, you know, it's not, you know, the way that these political events actually happen are not the way we would think. They're very counterintuitive. You know, the Duke of Austria, how he was assassinated, like how it really happened, start of World War II. The Duke of Austria, they had several assassins, and the first assassin tried to shoot him and then missed, and so he was all sad. So the Duke, he shot someone else. He threw the grenade bounced off, didn't assassinate the Duke, killed someone else. That someone else went to the hospital. Well, the Duke went to the hospital to visit him, and someone else tried to kill him, and that didn't work. And a few other assassins failed. And so the Duke was leaving the hospital, and the first assassin's sitting there all depressed, eating a sandwich, and here comes the Duke in his car, and he pulls out a gun, boom, and kills him. That's how it actually happened. The way these historical events unfold are never clean and easily predicted. But we are looking at the West waking up. Someone said, you know what? I'm going to save this, the idea of one of us and all of us, for tomorrow, because I'm already long on this.